So iron and steel gets interesting. This is one of the quarters. I'm doing it in a strip here, and each strip has the same outputs. Some outputs are headed off to the left. So outputs are going north, and our original inputs are just the iron ingots that we have already prepared, and coal. So let's start with that. Iron routing is going to be easy since I have 4 factories making iron, so I will just take its output and bring it over to, so it's aligned, bring it up, and drop it in. And we actually have 2 places we need it. Coal, well, coal was a bit of a longer process. We do have coal coming into the factory, but it's only 1 drone station, and we need more coal than that. So what I did was I set up a coal line coming in, and went all the way down to the end of the drones. I said, let's set up 2 stations that are bringing in a ton of coal. And that's working. So we have 2 belts of coal coming out, and I'm bringing them east. I'm dropping them down, splitting them out to form 4 belts going west. And I grabbed my first belt and I went zoop all the way across here, and that gets me my coal input. I'm going to be using about 140 coal per minute on that line. So that's too much coal to drag through 1 drone port, but we should be able to run 280 through 1 port, I hope, crossing my fingers. It could be that we will be limited by our coal, in which case I will stack up some more stations over there, and we may have to go find some more places to mine coal. I don't know. Theoretically, I've got enough coal, but does it split properly across the drone ports? We'll find out. So the first blueprint tucks in here, and we got decent light. So we're going to bring our iron ingots down, and they go through all sorts of splitters. Just to feed, well, on the bottom level, we have 6 constructors making iron wire, because I like iron wire. Typically, I have more iron available than copper, so I prefer using iron wire. And over the long run, we may revisit that, especially on the factories turning out all of the final delivery stuff up there in the upper. I don't know what our copper versus iron is going to be. So we've got 6 machines making wire, and we're bringing the ingots in on the outside, and we are sending our outputs up the inside. And I've used stupid clipping tricks here to make this a little bit compact. This is actually, I don't consider this clipping. It fits the visuals nicely, but up top, people would definitely call this clipping, but I have packed my lifts right inside the splitters and mergers. And that brings the wire up, and it gets split out, and some of it goes out to be product from this particular blueprint, and some of it heads over here to be used to make the cable. So on this floor, we've got the cable being made. We also have 2 more constructors. Thank you, autosave. We have these 2 constructors that are kind of in the middle of the screen right now, and they are making iron plates. So this particular blueprint, our outputs are the iron plates and the cables and the wire. So let's dive back up through the ceiling here. And we do all sorts of little squirrelies. I did not put this in the blueprint. It's too high. And I didn't worry about blueprinting it because I can drop this down by hand. It's not that hard, and I only need to do 3 more of them. And even if I did it in a blueprint, any of these long belts going out, I'd have to put those in anyway. So we come up here with the wire, and we split. I'm using the splitter just to get a nice controlled turn out of this thing, so I'm coming out on the proper line. And the rest of these just kind of work across. Remember, my standard is east-west is high and north-south is low. So I'm enforcing that even for very minor things. And that came in handy a couple times. Some of these tolerances are pretty tight. We have cable coming out. Cable isn't used anywhere else in this strip, so he just dives onto here, onto these big north-south lines that are on my outputs. And for now, I'm just syncing all the outputs. The other one is the iron plate, which is coming out here, and again, it comes up, and it goes into a splitter. This one is actually split because we have output and we are routing to this direction. And I think this should probably be a smart splitter so that I preferentially will feed it onward into the factory.
Okay, the recipe's going to clock out.
So what I'm going to do is to the right is going to be any and forward is going to be overflow. So all of my plates are going to be going to the rest of this strip. And once that is packed full, we will send the overflow this way. And I'm going to check that as we go on and make sure that all of our splitters that we're using to divide between output from the strip and used elsewhere by the strip, we're all going to have to be set like that. So, second blueprint also has foundries and constructors. This is our steel area. So we're making steel ingots, and we turn some of them to steel beams, and then we turn a bunch of them into steel pipes. And this clips very nicely together with one foundry per constructor to make the beams and pipes. We head up to here. I've got this place in the middle. When I'm packing a lot of machines together, I like to have my belt work done in a layer in the middle, and this height is really nice because I can put easily 2 layers of belting and splitters and mergers, and I can even sneak some stuff into the middle if I have to. But these are easy. I do have this splitter here, which I believe needs to be a smart splitter because its right output is going up and out. So let's do that. So you hold down Control to replace the splitter with a smart splitter. And then we say, here, NE goes forward and overflow goes to the right.
We have the gloves of the tormented.
And now we will tend to keep this uplink filled, and where overflow will go out. And the uplink is going here, where we are turning steel beams into screws,
Going to DE and 3.
which are output from this blueprint. So our outputs then become our, let's look at it from this direction. We've got screws, we've got steel plates, and we've got steel pipes.
Token piece, priest, warlock, druid.
Head back up through the ceiling again.
Miss
Kind of like the first one.
Miss B, don't disenchant those gloves. See you next Tuesday.
These beams are not going to be used in the final stage, so all of them go to the output. The screws are only used in the final stage, so I jump them up and over and send them across and back up and over. Yes, I could have probably done this simpler, but by keeping to my 2-layer scheme, I ended up having an easier time just placing things. I'm going to get rid of some of the foundations that aren't really needed here. So there's the screws. And then we have the pipes. The pipes, again, are split. And we want to put a smart splitter. With any going to the right and overflow being placed on the output of the factory. Now our production rates are drifting downward as we get further and further along into this massive layout. So I have to sit here and watch and see that, yes, we are getting some pipes going out here, and we're not getting them out here yet. So going into the final stage, we've got wire, and we've got steel pipes, and we've got screws, and we've got iron plates. And those get taken down below, where I have a single layer of 4 assemblers. One assembler I've got slowly making reinforced iron plate. I need less than 10 per minute of these. So we just kind of churn those out. And the other 2 ingredients are making stators. And we need a lot more stators. So we've got 3 machines making stators overclocked to 200%. So that's going to get us 30 stators per minute. Again, kind of a low rate when you compare it with what the belts can do. If I were worried about resources, I would be using a lot of Mark I belts in this area. So once we've done that, we now have a quarter of our iron and steel all laid out and hooked up. So let's start hooking up the next one. I'm going to see how long I can take to do this. If it gets too long, I will break the recording. So 9. So the steel pipe beam screw is this one. Oh, that was 8. And iron wire plate cable is this one. And I'm orienting these so that their framework strip is to the right. Okay, so the blueprints saved me laying out all of that cruft. So that's still a big time saver. These plates on the top are so I can put down these refinery epidecks that I blueprinted out earlier. These are the same ones I've been using, so their holes are all in the wrong place for this. Could have sworn to put that down. Now, because I'm not actually using the refinery upper deck, I can get rid of the things that are wrong. And that is that hole and the lift attached to it, and that hole and lift attached to it there. Leave the power connections, and that goes away. These guys, again, similar.
Yeah, I picked up 2 so far for the bank. Up those warlocks with those big bags.
And I think, let's see, we are clean. I want to scour everything off of these guys that we don't need before I start putting stuff on it. Okay, so there we go. These still have their power connections up top. So now we start hooking up stuff down to the bottom. And because my plate doesn't have pre-drilled holes, I will need to refer to this mess up here as I start routing things around. So bear with me a little bit. Let's run power first. Oh, we can get rid of these plates as we come to them, because they are just for aligning the top bit. I really just needed something to make my blueprint high enough. I probably could have just used a power connector or something. Okay, so power is hooked up, sort of. I need to hook it up the rest of the way here. And what I'm going to do is start from, oops. Okay, I hooked up this one differently from how I've hooked up the rest of them. Let me correct that. Because if I don't correct it, I'll have to use higher category connectors. So he's going to connect over to power here. Okay, there's the first strip power hooked back up. Now we tap the second strip into the first one. What I've been doing to keep these simple is I have power over there on the north edge, and then I'm striping the power to the south through these nubs. So it's always the nubs connect north and south and up and down. Okay, and I just noticed we have a hole. There we go. So lighting, because I'm on experimental, we don't have any mods, so I can't turn on a mod that keeps it daylight all the time, so we just have to kind of soldier on through. I'm inclined to do all of the built work that's at ground level first. So let's do that. This merger is going to be from the power pole. We've got a foundation, and we are at that location on the foundation. And I put it in the wrong place, because of course I did. While I'm at it, let's check and make sure I've got the direction right. It's a merger pointing to the left. So it should be
We have a mace that's good for
right
beginning
here.
healer.
There. And now we can, I'm going to take up these bits, because I'm not going to want to have the,
Going to DE, 3, 2.
I'm not going to want to have these connectors, these poles sitting on the edge. So we'll just do that.
And we have a neck piece.
There's that. And the next one is this guy,
Damage, healing, mana
which
repair.
is just here.
Going to Texas. Oh, nope, going to. Wait a
Make
minute.
sure this is
Yeah.
on the right
That
line.
Texas and clocked out both are, so
So we should be,
going to clock out.
that's not right.
And a warrior rogue shaman token, warrior rogue shaman.
There we go.
Alright, that's getting left on the body.
Now up here, we're putting 3 holes in to bring up our goodies. So that's to the right of the seam and 2 on the left of the seam on this guy. Should be right here. If I did it right, I can now push these up. And I'm not going to start messing around with this knot until I'm ready to go, but I will. No, if I put this in place, yeah. So I'm going to have to wait until my ground levels are done to think about this. I need to put in
I was trailing this
these
bee, and when I came
holes
out of the water, they
and
just
move it
flew
onward.
over and jumped at me.
Okay, so the next step is this guy. I just realized I can start from here. I could say 1, 2, 3, 4, just like that. And he is right there. And from here, this is in the upper left-hand corner. So 1, 2, 3, 4. that. And he also has 3 holes, and they're in a slightly different place. They are across the top middle of the foundation, like that. So boom, boom, boom. And again, before I do anything else, let's check the alignment by drawing the outputs up. So those are aligned properly. And again, this whole routing thing has to deal with the next level up, and these belts are in the right place, in the right level, but it's best if I wait to put them in until I've got the lifts in. Okay, now the top here, this is the one with 4 inputs. So each input is centered in one of those holes. So I can just go boop, 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 boop. Let's make sure I can run those. Hold on, is that correct? It felt off. Okay, that is correct. So the cues I'm listening for, I've got that little tick as it clips into place, and I'm watching that arrow, and I want that arrow to be pointed into the thing. Doesn't matter which of this rotation I use, so I just kind of pick them to be consistent. So those are in the right place.
We got a few missing buffs we'll need to.
I'm going to leave this plate in place for the moment.
If you do not have a
We're going to need it when we put these guys in.
in your inventory, please open trade. We only have
So what am I missing? Well, I've got
and we need to alleviate
my inputs need to be driven.
caused by that corrupted blood.
So we've got coal and iron plate, and the iron ingots. And the iron ingots, the first one needs to come in here. And I believe I can just run that straight up. I've been putting a hole in. You don't really need a hole in this particular guy, but he is centered on this line and toward the middle. Okay, so H for hologram, and then use the arrow keys to move it into place. And that's the wrong one. I can see down below what's going on here. Now let's make sure. There we go. So, at this point, if I give myself some iron ingots, I should see my outputs appearing here. I haven't put them I haven't sent them anywhere, but they should kind of appear. But I don't want to start routing. Oh, thank you, autosave. I don't want to start routing my iron ingots and my coal. Excuse me. I don't want to start doing that until I've got the iron ingots and the coal flowing through. So let's set up the other input here. And we can see where those are. So it's the lower right-hand corner of each of these 2 squares. Just like that. Dive down underneath and run it up. So now the problem is to get iron ingots into here and here, and get coal in here. And I'm going to try to mirror what I did over here. So the coal line got a nice long straight run, slightly over to the left from where it wanted to be. So we're going to start off by putting these supports in here. That support's going to be at the center point of the foundation, and the other one is going to be here. Sorry, I should have had that support in too. Oh. Let's go over here. This does mean that we take a little bit of a dog leg, and I am perfectly okay with sidestepping a little bit on a belt like that. Now we can put this in 1, 2, 3, 4. Like that. And that should work.
Yeah, 5 seconds before sun usage.
Always test the tight tolerances first. Now from here, the coal line should just go all the way back, maintaining the line and the altitude all the way back until it makes the turn to do this. So let's run this guy out. Now I've been, for the really long runs like this, I've been putting the supports in. 1, 2, 3, 4 here. And I may have put the supports in the wrong place, but we're not going to revisit that. I think once I've got a particular area laid out and it's working, I'm not going to revisit it unless I really want to be doing refactoring.
Recurse, resender.
So here, the layout is a little bit different because I have more things on the line. So I'm going to bring my coal up to the right of the quartz. It's on this line. So it's here. We turn the top and we verify that's the direction I want to go. There. And now we just need to run the coal up here, and eventually we're going to make our dog leg. The other thing is that we want iron to come up and be here. I will need to find my iron ingots. Hold on, yeah, sometimes it hitches, and if I was moving the mouse, it'll spin me around randomly. So here is where we're going to. And the iron is, I believe that's it there. Yes, that's it there. So we will have some jinking to do. So first step is putting the supports. And I'm putting the supports in on the edge of the blueprints. Like that, nice and consistent. And this area is where I'm going to jink over.
Part of a car, if you roll, you're agreeing that
And this is going to go all the way over to center line of this foundation. And I'm not sure. Yes, that's good.
Okay.
So now when we get to the edge, we'll have this guy here. And this input is going to be iron coming in and splitting into it. So it'll look like this. Get a good eye full of that, which means that this support for it will go here. Yeah, once I finish the layer 1, these nice long east-west runs are easy to put in and they don't really conflict with anything else. So that's why I'm not being a stickler for what goes where. That guy is going to be interesting to run. Let's see if I put supports in. Let's back it up by 1. And he's going to have to be here. So apparently I need to back it up by 2.
Yeah. If you have like corrupted blood on you and you get the poison from the
We could run this back to pick up the coal.
It's on you too long before the car actually sucks it out, it can almost kill you. So, yeah. 30 to 35 seconds is usually the sweet spot.
Okay. And I messed up with my coal support here. Needs to be a skinch to the left. Oh my God, and how long have I been on mute? Doesn't matter. Y'all saw what I was doing anyway. I'm going to check performance on this now.